I'm Kimmy Tiemann, and I'm here with our video productions teacher, Mr. Ashley. Mr. Ashley's been doing the newscast for 10 years now. Mr. Ashley, how did the newscast get started?
Well, we actually started shortly after I began here at the high school. It was kind of cool because I was teaching 6th grade science in the morning, and then I'd come over. We used to be on what was called an A-day, B-day schedule. I'd come over and teach basic video on A days, 4A, and then 8B, I had advanced video, or vice versa, one or the other, I don't remember. But I had advanced video, and at first I had one kid, Sean Rossitano. And Sean was really gifted at video. He was a junior at the time, and I asked him, I said, Sean, if you could get one thing accomplished here during your time with me in advanced video, what would it be? And he said he wanted to start a newscast. Actually, Mr. Suchowski introduced our very first newscast. It was in February of 2010, I believe. But then after that newscast, Sean and I had this idea for openers, something that was engaging, that would grab people's attention before the newscast. Our very first opener was Chubby Bunny, and it was a lot of fun producing the newscast that year because everything was brand new. And we would do these really creative openers. The openers really seemed to grab people. The Lazy Fenton opener that we did, people seemed to really enjoy it, and that helped us. And then we had some quirky, this superhero squad thing we did, and then the big finale that year, the A-team, which we used Mr. Suchowski, Mr. Bacher, Mrs. Lemke, and then even had another former assistant principal, Mr. Cornell. I had this crazy idea to have them be the members of the A-team. And it was a movie coming out. We actually even threw it, rather than have it as an opener, we threw it into the middle as a movie preview and kind of tricked everybody with this lame prom walk opener. And after that, it really gave us a nice running start for the next year.
So how would you say that the newscast has changed or evolved over time?
Well, people actually watch now, which is good, because in the beginning we really didn't have many viewers. I remember asking kids, hey, did you guys watch the newscast after the first couple newscasts? And they just say no. Nope, didn't even know we had a newscast. And we just kept at it. And as we grew fast. We ended up with a newscast after, I think it was my 3rd year. So it would have been my start of my 4th year. Mr. Suchowski said, hey, you got enough for 2 advanced video classes. And I said, well, I have to have enough to keep them busy. And he said, what do you think about another newscast? And I'm like, we could do that. So we talked about a Thursday B-day. It was called Early in the Morning. It was great. We had, at first we tried to do it with no openers or nothing to catch people's attention, and that did not go over well. People wanted something fun, and so we started doing closers for the Early in the Morning. And so we'd have openers for Friday newscast, Friday B-day newscast, and then Early in the Morning Thursday was your closers. And that's what started the 20 for 20 stuff. Is you had 2 newscasts competing against each other because people would be like, oh, I really like Early in the Morning better. They've got, a better set, because their set was different. They weren't behind a desk in the black box. That's where our FHS News in the Morning was. The other thing that I think that has really evolved over the years is we realize that not everybody wants funny all the time. You can have not just our PSA type thing, but you can have some other things too that are a little more serious or even just a little more heartwarming.
Wow, that's really cool. So what traditions have stayed with the newscast?
Oh boy, there's a bunch. The Halloween broadcast, I remember our very first one. People seem to like it. We've done silly since then, but people seem now, the last few years, to expect more intense. Some type of holiday thing around our winter break, some type of Christmas or something to do with the holidays. We tend to do that. Movie clips is a big one.
Babe, please scoot over. This water is freezing and I know there's room.
There's room.
I'm gonna die. No, don't shush me. No.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here.
Something's wrong with his medulla oblongata.
Awesome. Done. Oh, there's so much room for activities, it's making my head spin.
I could help you cross your yard.
No. Arrow roulette.
I'm going to shoot this arrow up into the sky, and it's going to come straight back down. Last guy to be standing here wins the game. Here we go. Oh my gosh!
Oh, I got it!
Movie clips is definitely one that we've stuck with many different times. We've probably done movie clips 4 or 5 times. Finale, after that first year, I took on the finale myself many years and had a blast with it. I had this idea to do this lip sync thing based on an air band I did in high school where I was Gene Simmons from Kiss. And so we did this air band thing, and it was really tough to get teachers. Thankfully, I had a few that were willing to. But after that, every year we do something big. Everybody knows I love superheroes, so I got teachers to play superheroes. We did these big things with that.
Thanks for welcoming us, Avengers. Notice I'm not squeezing your precious armor too much as you crush it, or your hand either.
Gee, thanks. We're real happy to see all you guys.
There's a number of different things like that, and it becomes something that people remember. It's always been that way, and I love that.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to keep the traditions going. How did the prom PSA get started?
Prom PSA, that was something I was just really passionate about when I started here. I just recognized that underage drinking, the choice in it, how important it is to try to curb that. Drinking and driving. You know, I care so much about my students, and I was so worried about my students making bad choices around that time. And so I just felt that maybe if we made something, and even if we could make, I've always said this, even if we just make an impact with one person, it's worth it. And so for a few years we made these. Our first one went over really well, and it surprised people and it went over well. It wasn't just as important to me, it's become a big deal. Everyone expects it now. What's your prom PSA going to be? You know, or I can't wait to see your prom PSA. Students are behind it. I mean, that was one of my goals, was to get students to be just as passionate about it as I was. Not just about producing something professional, but about recognizing how important it is that we need this. We need things to help remind us that, you know, you can't drink underage. There's a reason there's a law. You can't go out and drink and drive. I mean, people, they die. And we wanted to show that impact that you have on others' lives if you choose to drink and drive. It's not just yourself. I mean, you can destroy other lives, and I mean, that's just a terrible thing. So it was something very important to me, and it's still important to me, and it's honestly going to be one of the toughest things for me walking away, is knowing that I have left behind, you know, something I was so passionate about, and will no longer be able to do that anymore.
But Nick, please don't make any bad decisions.
Don't be stupid.
You killed him!
What have been some of your favorite memories from the newscast?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of things that I've been involved with. Obviously the prom PSAs, that's a big thing. Finales. Finales are something that I always enjoyed. Working with teachers and staff members and just kind of taking them out of their comfort element. Ideas I had the idea to have Mr. Place's Flash. Thought he was incredible in that role. Getting teachers, again, to just step out of their comfort zones. That was always a big thing to me, is bring these teachers in, have a blast with them, do silly things, let students see them that way, and I think they had just as much fun as the students had watching them. Some of the movie clip openers we did where we used teachers, I think those were great. Honestly, from a selfish perspective, I loved producing things too that I got to be in. I was this foreign exchange student, Sven, one year. I did this magic off of Kyle, who was a great magician. We did this fun thing. I've had a number of different things. Ratches O'Houlihan for a dodgeball opener. I got to be a silly character with that. And so sometimes it was just a simple little idea I would come up with, and students would take it on and just run with it.
Well, we've had some great times with you, Mr. Ashley. Speaking of, what do you think you'll miss the most?
I'm going to miss a lot of things. I mean, students. I'm going to miss students the most. You know, one of the cool things for me in this position is I get kids in, you know, as freshmen or sophomores, and they'll stick with me through the end. And so I build up this great rapport relationship over time with them, and it's tough. It's tough to leave. It's especially tough right now to leave mid-year. I'm going to miss students. I'm going to miss our Wednesday night late nights. I'm going to miss out doing the prom PSA. That's going to be tough for me. I'm going to miss our up north field trip in the spring. There's just a number of different things I'll miss. I'm even going to miss the little interactions, even arguments with students, the sarcastic back and forth, the singing in the classroom and having people just kind of roll their eyes like when I'm yelling out today, young blood from 5 Seconds of Summer. I'm just yelling it out randomly all day today. Or the dumb jokes. When I know I'm saying some of the stupidest jokes you could ever say, then I know everyone thinks they're so corny and so dumb, yet I know also in the back of their minds, you know, it's going to be weird not to hear those anymore, if that makes sense. It's going to be strange. It's going to be strange for me not to say them. It's going to be weird because I'm not going to have that anymore. I'm walking away from something that I have just loved. I mean, this has been the greatest job I've ever had when it comes to working with the students, and I absolutely love it. I can't imagine doing anything else anymore. So it's going to be very, very strange for me when I leave.
Well, Mr. Ashley, we appreciate you sitting down with us. And from all of our classes, we'd like to say,